Hey, class, welcome back. Uh, I told y'all a few days ago when I did a video, I was going to be doing some lessons for ancient Rome, and we're going to start out with our very first lesson, the early history of Rome. Now, with the early history of Rome, you've got two different versions. You've got the historical facts, and then you've got the mythological. So I'm going to cover a little bit of both of those in this, about with Remus and Romulus with the mythical part, and then what history believes. So, but yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about ancient Rome, the early history of Rome, and then I've got. I said the other day I had 15. I've got 17 actually because I went back and I did Augustus, and I did this one because I wanted you to see the early history of Rome, the historical part, not the mythological part. Like I said, we're going to go over Remus and Romulus, but that's what I wanted you to see. So, all right. So it's kind of shrouded in mystery. Like I said, a lot of Rome's historical records, they got destroyed when barbarians sacked the city in 390 BC. And so archaeologists have kind of put pieces of the puzzle together, and they give them a picture of how Rome was likely founded. So we'll see what it says in here. Early history. The early history of Rome is somewhat shrouded in mystery. A lot of Rome's early historical records were destroyed when barbarians sacked the city in 390 BC. Historians and archaeologists have put pieces of the puzzle together to give us a picture of how Rome was likely founded. All right. So there's several different stories, like I said, telling how the city of Rome was founded. Some are historical, others are mythological tales, and they're told by poets and authors. I'm going to go on to the next slide because there's several different slides on this one. All right. So the founding of Rome, historical. Rome was likely first settled around 1000 BC, about 250 years before Remus and Romulus came along. Okay. The first settlement was built on Palatine Hill. This is Palatine Hill down here. It was easily defended because it's up on a hill. You've got the high ground. Darth Vader knows that. All right. Over time, the 6 other hills around Palatine Hill were also settled. As the settlement grew, it became a city, and there was also a public area built eventually in between Palatine and Capitoline Hill, and it became known as the Roman Forum. Founding of Rome continued. Historical. Rome was likely first settled around 1000 BC. The first settlement was built on Palatine Hill because it was easily defended. Over time, the 6 other hills around Palatine were also settled. As the settlement grew, it became a city. A public area was built between the hills of Palatine and Capitoline that became known as the Roman Forum. All right. The mythological part of this, Roman mythology, it says that Rome was founded in 753 BC by the twins, Romulus and Remus. All right. And while they were building the settlement, they got in a fight. And Romulus killed Remus, and then he became the first king of Rome. So this is the mythological. I will go over a whole lesson on Remus and Romulus. It'll be our next lesson. But I'm just trying to give you both historical and mythological for this. Founding of Rome continued. Mythical. Roman mythology says that Rome was founded in 753 BC by the twins Romulus and Remus. While building the settlement on Palatine Hill, Romulus killed Remus and became the first king of Rome. All right. So where does the name Rome come from? Well, the mythological part of it states that the name comes from its founder, Romulus. All right, this is Romulus here. Romulus and Remus beside each other. That's Romulus there. There are other theories put forth by historians. They say Rome got its name from Etruscan word for the Tiber River, which is Roman. So it just depends on how you look at it and what you believe in. Where does the name Rome come from? Roman mythology and history states the name comes from its founder, Romulus. There are other theories put forth by historians and archaeologists as to where Rome got its name. It may have come from the Etruscan word for the Tiber River, Roman. All All right, so the settlement of Italy. Rome is in Italy. Italy is shaped like a boot. When it first came about, it was settled by a lot of different people. That included Latin people, which were the first to settle Rome. And then you had Greeks. They settled along the coast of Italy, and the Sabines, and then you had the Etruscans. All right, and the Etruscans were really powerful people that lived nearby Rome. So they probably had an influence on the culture and the early formation of Rome. So, and some of the kings of Rome, the 7 kings, which we'll get to in just a minute, they were Etruscan as well. So they probably had a lot of influence on the culture and stuff there in Rome.
Settlement of Italy. During the early formation of Rome, Italy was settled by many different peoples. These included the Latin peoples, the first to settle Rome, the Greeks, who settled along the coast of Italy, the Sabines, and the Etruscans. The Etruscans were powerful people who lived nearby Rome. They likely had a significant influence on the culture and the early formation of Rome. Some of the kings of Rome were Etruscan.
All right, so the kings of Rome, like I said, there were 7 kings of Rome before the Roman Republic. This was well before the Roman Republic. This is the early history, remember. All right, Rome was ruled by kings, and it tells of 7 kings that started with Romulus. Romulus was the founder of Rome. All right, in 753 BC, each king was elected by the people, and it was for life. If you became king, you were going to be king for life. And the king was very powerful, and they were leader of both the government and Roman religion, a lot like the pharaohs were in Egypt.
The kings of Rome. Before the Roman Republic was formed, Rome was ruled by kings. Roman history tells of 7 kings starting with Romulus in 753 BC. Each king was elected by the people for life. The king was very powerful and acted as a leader of both the government and the Roman religion.
All right, so under the king, there was, although it was during the time of kings, there was a senate. There was about 300 senators that started out with not as many senators. Senators really didn't, it was before the Roman Republic, they didn't really have a lot of power at that. All right, they had very little real power. Okay, they were more of advisors to the king. Okay, they helped the king run the government during this time.
Kings of Rome continued. Under the king was a group of 300 men called the Senate. Senators had little real power during the kingdom of Rome. They served more as advisors to the king and helped him to run the government.
All right, so the beginning of the Roman Republic. This man right here, this is Tarquin the Proud. He was the last king of Rome. All right, he was really bad. He was really cruel. They didn't like him, and so eventually the Roman people and the Senate, they revolted, just like if you do with any kind of, most of the time, if you have an anarchy, if you have somebody who's a dictator, who's really cruel, eventually they're going to revolt. And that's what they did. They kicked him out of the city. They expelled him from the city. All right. And they formed a new government without a king, and it was called the Roman Republic. And that's the Roman Republic that everybody knows. And under that Roman Republic, Rome flourished. All right. And it became one of the great ancient civilizations that we know.
Beginning of the Roman Republic. The last king of Rome was Tarquin the Proud. Tarquin was a cruel and violent king. Eventually, the Roman people and the Senate revolted and expelled Tarquin from the city. They formed a new government without a king called the Roman Republic in 509 BC.
All right. So under the Roman Republic, the government was ruled by 2 elected leaders. They were called consuls. We're going to talk about consuls as we go through this unit. All right. The consuls, so they're kind of like a president here. All right. Well, there's only one president in the United States, but there were 2 of those, and they only served for 1 year. And they were advised by the Senate. All right. And it was during the Republic, like I said, Rome expanded and it became one of the great civilizations in world history.
Beginning of the Roman Republic. Under the Roman Republic, the government of Rome was ruled by 2 elected leaders called consuls. The consuls only served for 1 year and were advised by the Senate. It was during the Republic that Rome expanded to become one of the great civilizations in world history.
All right, time for our comprehension questions. Where was the first Roman settlement built? Was it A, the Nile River, B, Egypt, or C, Palatine Hill? It was C, Palatine Hill. It was easily defended. You had the high ground. Or eventually they built the rest of the city on 6 surrounding hills.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number 2, who became the first king of Rome after killing his brother? This was the mythological part of Rome, of the Roman history, early Roman history. Was it A, Remus, B, Romulus, or C, Hammurabi? It was B, Romulus. Romulus killed his twin brother Remus. Don't get them confused. It's Remus and Romulus, or Romulus and Remus. But Romulus is the one that won the mythological battle that we think and became the first king of Rome.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number 3, which people settled Rome and had influence on their culture? Which people settled Rome and had influence on their culture? Was it A, the Etruscans, B, the Egyptians, or C, Americans? It was A, the Etruscans. A few of the kings were Etruscan kings, so they had a lot of influence on the Roman culture then.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number 4, how many kings ruled Rome before the Roman Republic was formed? Was A, 1, B, 3, or C, 7? It was 7. There were 7 different kings of Rome before the Roman Republic was formed. The last one being Tarquin the Proud.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
All right, it was that. The 7 kings of Rome. All right, last one. I just said this, but you better get this one. Who was the last king of Rome that was expelled from the city? They kicked him out. He was cruel. Who was that? Was that A, Tarquin the Proud, B, Romulus, or C, Caesar, Julius Caesar? It was A, Tarquin the Proud. He was the last king of Rome. He was cruel. They didn't like him. They revolted. They kicked him out, and that's when they decided, hey, we're going to go with the Roman Republic as our government.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
All right, class, I will be back next time, and we are going to talk about the mythological part of the early Roman history. Next time, we're talking about Romulus and Remus. All right, I just wanted to kind of set you in the mood for everything on this one and give you some historical facts to go with it. But I will see you all next time. You all have a very good day.